So after a lot of discussion and debate, we came up with the idea of the sky crane. Now, it looks crazy at the beginning. Matter of fact, when we first briefed it to the team at NASA headquarters, which reviews this thing, he said, get out of here. You're absolutely crazy. You're going to do this on another planet. But as we discussed with the engineers, it became clear to them that this is the most elegant way, and engineering-wise, the most sensible way, to do it for a couple of reasons. Number one, once you touch the surface and you land, you're ready to go. So you don't have to get off a platform or anything. Number two, it gives you a margin of error, because if for some reason we are a few meters closer to the surface or a few meters higher, the sky crane can take that, because we're just rolling it down. And as soon as the rover feels touching the surface, we cut the cable, even if the cable is not completely deployed. So when you think about it, it turned out really, engineering-wise, the most elegant way, and the most safe way to do it. But on the surface, it looks crazy. And yeah, we were very nervous, about it, that's for sure. We have two orbiters, around Mars that we use for relaying the data, down to Earth from the lander. And one of the orbiter, which is called MRO, or Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, has a high-resolution camera. So we sat down and figured out, or not the smart engineers, not me, they figured out exactly where we're doing the entry, at what time we're entering, and where the orbiter is going to be, and then pointed the camera so we can take a snapshot of when the parachute, shortly after the parachute opened, and came down. And that was that was played back, the following day. It was not in real time. Hopefully in the future we can play these things, in real time. The solar system is not a very friendly place. So there are many places which will be very hard for human to go to. Even if the places where human can go, it's fairly dangerous or alien, if you want. It's not, you land like we land here on Earth and you have a favorable environment. Plus our technology now is such that effectively we can do almost everything robotically. So from science point of view, robotically we can do almost all the scientific, investigation that we want, to accomplish. However, I still say there is a human spirit that you need to do where when human goes themselves, and do that. We have seen first from orbit what looks like drainage channels which are dried up. So it has all kind of indication that water could have flown, or some liquid could have flown on the surface in the past. It looks very much like I do a lot of field work in the Middle East. Like if you fly over Egypt, over the desert, and you see all these drainage channels all over the place, which used to be flowing water many thousand years ago. That's exactly what it looks, on Mars. But then with Spirit and Opportunity, the two rovers that we landed there, as we explored and analyzed some of the rocks, we found that the rocks have been modified by the presence of water for a long period of time. Again, the people who live in California is very much like you go to Owens Valley, where you see those dry lakes, where you have salt which are deposited, and then you cover them. So that's the kind of thing we found on Mars. Making a long story short, we believe that a few billion years ago, which is roughly the same time that life started on Earth, that there were oceans on the surface of Mars.
What would the smoking gun be for previous life on Mars?
Well, the real smoking gun would be if little Martian
it would be an actual smoking gun.
But even that we are not looking for it, so I want to make sure we keep the expectation correct. A dramatic one would be if you see a fossil. I mean, when you get to these hills, that we're heading toward Mount Sharp, I mean, if you see a fossil, I mean, that, in my mind, that will revolutionize our thinking about our location in the universe.